I'm taking the strap. I'm strapped up.
What's happening? What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 131 of the SZN Podcast. As always, I'm your boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And you know the rules by now, guys. Before we start the episode, please head over to SZN Pod or SZN Podcast, to our Twitter and Instagram pages. Link in the bio, both those pages there will take you to where we're situated at streaming-wise, whether that's audio or such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you want visuals, the YouTube link, channel to the YouTube link is there as well. So make sure you do that, guys. But yeah, Flowz, here we are another week. As always, want to check in with you. You good?
Yeah, man. What you saying?
Yeah, man, I'm all right. We know what we're going to start with this episode. There's only one thing to talk about. Yeah. You're smiling, but I know deep down you're probably reluctant that you don't want to. We discussed this. We kind of have to. We're literally fresh off the Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight card. Before we kick off, I guess we've got no choice but to review it, guys. We kind of gave it a little preview last week, and it seems to be talk of the town. That's what everyone's tuned in for, etc. So man, we got to talk about it, I guess, because we both tuned in. Before we start, do you want to start with the main event, or should we? Because I tuned in from the undercard, the chief support, the co-main event, which is the Badou Jack fight. Do you want to start with that first before we get to the main one, or should we give the listeners one straight away?
Let's keep the weight. Let's start with the chief support.
Yeah, okay. We'll start with the chief support, which is an actual boxing fight with two serious boxers, as I should say. I mean, there was more fights on the undercard, listeners, but you know damn well we weren't going to tune into those guys. I don't actually know anyone else that was on. I personally don't know who they were. So
I legit. It's not that I don't know who they are. I don't know what the undercard was. I just knew the chief support and the main event. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to the guys on undercard. But yeah, let's start with the Badou Jack versus Ilunga Makabu fight. I think we both said last week, because we did briefly mention it as well, that we've been big fans of Jack for a while, I guess. Just not even just on this pod, but even before this pod, our fan, we've liked Badou Jack. He's a good fighter, but I think we both were quick to say that, you know, the father time's come for him, and at 39 now, he's just not the same fighter he was back in the day. And we kind of felt like, I guess you can attribute the washed word to him. You know, maybe it's just too late now. And obviously, we've seen him in his previous outings. He hasn't looked great. And so we're just there thinking maybe age has come. This is his attempt to win a world title in a third weight class. So obviously, he's been a champion at super middleweight and then super middle and light heavy. I believe he's won titles at, right? And then this is cruiserweight. So I think off the strength of that, just the fact that Makabu's fresher and younger, I think we both were saying that Makabu's probably gonna get Badou Jack, and this could possibly be the last time we see Badou Jack in the ring. So I think it's a pleasant surprise, Flowz, to both of us to see the way Badou Jack took this fight and how he fought, and the fact that he was able to come out with a W. I was super happy for him, because I think it's quite well documented. If you follow boxing, it's quite well documented that despite him being a two-time world champion, Badou Jack's been on the receiving end of some really dodgy decisions in boxing, let's be real. I can count about 3 times where he's been shagged by the judges. I think it's even more than that. It might be 4 or 5. But he's been shagged before quite a few times. So for him to get this W at 39 and become the oldest cruiserweight world champion in history, I believe they said, for me, it was great. And he fully deserved it, bro. He fully deserved it. His performance was superb. It looked like the Badou Jack of old. I'll be so real. Badou Jack is one of them fighters, Flowz, that you can't really pinpoint what he's good at, because he's one of those guys that is good at everything. So he's not like good at everything. He's good at every. He doesn't have like a standout attribute to me, I guess. Maybe his engine, but overall, he does everything well to a good degree, which makes him tough to beat, because he's got a little. He's not a massive puncher, but he's got enough pop. He's not the best mover, but he's got enough movement to trouble opponents, all that kind of stuff. So bro. And normally he's a slow starter. I think throughout his career, he's been. I think my issue with him is that he sometimes starts slow. It takes him a while to warm up, but he gets stronger as the fight goes on. But this fight, bro, from the opening bell, he started quick. Came out jabbing, came out using his movement. I was so surprised to see how superior his movement was to Makabu's. And he came to fight, walk forward and landing the big shots and boxing and moving. And bro, within that fight, he was piecing up Makabu from what I could see. He was piecing up Makabu in portions. And again, I was surprised. I didn't think he had that performance left in him. I'll be so real. If you go off what we've seen with him recently, that surprised me, man. What about you, Flowz? From your viewing, from your vantage point, were you quite surprised as well, just how fresh he looked?
Yeah, his last outing, he looked forward to me. I questioned whether he had much in him left. I think he got a gift. He got a gift that last fight. And I thought, he can't compete at this weight. Can he even compete at all anymore? Because I don't even know who the guy was that was giving him hell. I can't even remember. So I think last episode we discussed it, and I poor from us because these times I even forgot Makabu ain't even fought in a year. And
very inactive Makabu, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we've been hearing his name.
Because of Canelo.
I thought he'd been active, but he hasn't been active. And two, the last fight I saw of him, he was terrible. Even the last two, he was poor.
The South African brother that was killing, was giving him hell. Yeah.
Giving him hell. So, oversight on our part because it's just a case of us forgetting. Because I know we've discussed it previously about Makabu being tried.
We have actually. No, we have. We actually mentioned. Remember, we said that when Canelo was linked to the cruiserweight champions, the first thing we both said was, I can see why he's picked Makabu because he's the most beatable of all of them. That we said that on the pod. It's there. So, yeah.
So poor from us in terms of delivering that. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Badou Jack impressed me. Superb what he was doing. He was picking shots. He was doing the right things. He was making Makabu look almost silly in there. Yeah. And you mentioned Badou Jack does everything to a good level, which makes him tough to beat, but also makes him beatable in that sense because he's not fantastic at anything.
Yeah.
So he's been in close fights. He's probably known in the boxing world as probably the unluckiest fighter.
He has been shafted by judges. So and I think, as you said, testament to the fact that because he's not flashy and he doesn't do anything supremely well, it can go against him sometimes. But obviously, we're seasoned boxing watchers, so we can see that he's winning fights, but the judges might not see it that way sometimes.
Yeah, great start from him. And the way he was piecing up Makabu, I was like, yo, this is peak. This is peak with Makabu. I'm super impressed. So kind of roll back the clock almost.
Big throwback performance from him, and he dropped Makabu twice in the fight. The first one was when was it? Maybe it was early on. I think it was like the third or fourth round.
Fourth round.
So dropped him then, and he was well deserved from it. Like Makabu did try and up the activity in the middle portions of the round because obviously I guess he knew he was losing rounds, but I was very impressed by how just composed Jack was. He didn't let Makabu suddenly coming forward and throwing big shots. Didn't let that deter him at all. Stayed calm and composed and stayed on his boxing, boxing and moving, etc. Rolling with the shoulder sometimes, utilizing the jab, and also he was banging to the body throughout the fight. And I think that helped slow Makabu down for sure. I was saying that, he's won this fight. He's really winning, like he's clear, like ahead on the scorecards by miles for me. But he's got to stay sharp throughout because of the fact that Makabu is a power puncher. We might call him and say he's right, but he does carry power and he does stop guys. So as we saw last week, you can never count out a power puncher, right? So you've always got to stay locked in and sharp, and he did. And he even started up the ante a little bit and started hurting Makabu. Makabu was by the time we got to the round, like the championship rounds, Makabu was tired as hell. He was knackered. And Jack's dropped him again in the 11th, just before 12th. So he dropped him in the 11th. And I'm there thinking, it's round 12. He's going to look to close the show. And that's exactly what he did. Again, he hurt him in exchange in round 12. Had Makabu running back, unsteady legs backwards, wobbling. So he's pounced, jumped in on him. Couple combos, referees jumped in. You might say it might have been premature, but to me it wasn't. He was getting pissed off right anyways. The referee obviously it was a compounding effect by the fact that obviously you just see them get dropped in the 11th. So it's like, is there thinking, let me watch him because he's struggling right now. So obviously when that happened, the referee was always going to jump in for me. And Makabu wasn't throwing back either. So it was a calm stoppage for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just super happy with Badou, man, because I've always liked him, and I do agree that he has been unlucky in his career. So it's always nice when, the fight, maybe when you're not expected to win, or you're the underdog for, you're able to pull out another last big performance out the bag to make history. And yeah, he's had a great career, man. 3 weight world champion. That's legendary stuff, isn't it? I guess so. Yeah, shout out to him.
And he's one of the nice guys in boxing as well.
Yeah. You can't really hate on him. He seems bare safe. Yeah.
He's been too unlucky. He's been like, remember the Jean Pascal? We knew watching that fight exactly what was going on. We knew live when we were watching it, and we knew exactly what was happening.
How can you both say at the same time, hey, they need to drop Pascal ASAP, because what I'm seeing is insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he had the Marcus Brown fight where he had that huge
nastiest clutch. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, one of the and he fought to the end with that.
Yep.
Legit warrior.
Yep. Well,
so he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now shout out to Badou. He's been around for a long. Like I still remember yesterday when he fought George Groves. Like he's been around for a long ass time. And yeah,
James the girl.
Yep, that fight was very contentious. Yeah, man. Big credit to him. He's fought who else? He fought Adonis Stevenson, and he won that fight, and they shafted him. I swear.
They said it was a draw.
That was a blatant win for me. But yeah, then obviously they tried to get the rematch over the line. It didn't happen. So yeah, he's been through a lot. So shout out to him. Happy to see him. Now he's a cruiserweight world champion. I don't know how long he's going to stay at cruiserweight, or how long whether he's going to be unifying or whatnot. I think I could. Might put them pause on that boy, but hey, I'm happy for him anyways. He's got his title. Let's see what happens next. But yeah, shout out to Badou, man. Credit to him. Yeah, man. Main event time. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. Flowz, I think it's safe to say once again, we got it right. What can we say? I've had people all week like messaging me, DMing me, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, we might not like it, Flowz, too much, but the influencer YouTuber boxer thing, it's huge eyes on the sport, and people legit tune in. So I've had people I haven't even spoken to in ages pop up in my DMs saying, "Oh yeah, what are your thoughts on the fight?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm just there thinking, wow, like this really has captured the attention of the public everywhere, really.
Yeah,
so credit to these lot, man. Again, the influencer boxing thing isn't my thing, but I can't deny the money and eyes it brings to the sport is huge, bro. It's massive. But yeah, people popping up saying my thoughts on who I think is going to win, etc. And I've seen a lot of people say Jake Paul. And even when I've said, my prediction is it's not going to be a great fight, but I'm pulling for Tommy Fury on points, either points or SD, UD, but he's going to take it on points. And they're like, really? Oh, I really have a feeling Jake's going to do it. Made me realize a lot of people just don't rate Tommy. Either they just don't like him, or they just fully don't rate Tommy Fury. And I guess it's hard to say why you don't rate him when you look at his other opponents and his other fights. But to me, I always said that just from the dimensions, Tommy's reach is massive, which I knew were going to play a factor. And also, I guess just him having an actual boxing background. Obviously, we can say that Jake is a boxer. He trains like a boxer. But Tommy actually kind of grew up with the sport. So he's more experienced to me in that regard. So that's why I was pulling for Tommy. Flowz, what were your reasons for pulling for Tommy? Do you have any particular reasons?
Yeah, so the reason why I backed Tommy was one, bro has all the pressure on him. He had to win. When people were asking me, I said, Tommy has to win. It's not about I think Tommy has to win. Like he has no excuse. There's no excuse. And I say that, like you mentioned, we talked about he has an amateur background. He's from a fighting family. He's all his brothers, his cousins, they all box. So you can imagine in a household when they're all sitting down to dinner, it's boxing, they're talking. It's boxing, they're doing, they're sparring. Like boxing has been his life from a shorty to now. Jake Paul picks it up. And while I've given Jake Paul credit, like Tommy Fury, that's been his life. We know he's done the influencer thing and whatnot. He doesn't have to be great, but he's got the background there. So for me, it had to be him, really and truly. Like everyone's saying he's bad and whatnot, but regardless, like I said, most of boxing is bad. Everyone's elite in boxing. You can't, you can't be. A lot of people, there's different levels, but yeah, at this level, it had to be Tommy Fury to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you talk about the pressure, because that can actually break you. We've seen many fighters crumble from the pressure, but he was under severe pressure. When you actually, when you deep it, like the pressure was crazy that he was under to beat this guy. Hey, even from this pod, you saw what I said last week. Listeners, you saw it. You chopped the clip up on the IG. I said, Tommy, if you don't win, you have to retire.
It's fact.
That's factual. We never want to see him in the boxing ring. You can't be losing to Jake Paul based on the fact that, your history, where you're from, and the way you've been talking as well. Because Jake Paul he can just, if he takes a loss, he can just carry on doing what he used to be doing, which is what he probably will go and do now. MMA fighters and ex-athletes or whatever. But you say you have aspirations to be, well, I don't know how serious you are, but you claim you're serious about the sport. So losing Jake Paul is a crazy black mark to have on your resume. 8 fights in. That's peak.
Yeah.
That is deep. They're laughing you at the gym, I can't lie. So he had all the pressure on him.
Look, as well as that, all the boxing pundits and stuff that were saying, they expect Jake Paul to win.
Bro,
that adds pressure to him.
I don't even. Why were they saying that though?
I know exactly why they were saying it, and they best stay over there. They don't come back over to the boxing side. The reason why they were saying it was to discredit Jake Paul. And what I mean by that is they'll say, who's going to win? Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. Yeah. And all this time before that, they've been saying Jake Paul needs to fight a real boxer. Fight a real boxer. So in order to discredit Jake Paul, they'll say, Jake Paul's going to win. So so they're saying that we expect Jake Paul to win, that Tommy Fury is not a real boxer. So they've already got their plan lined up where if Jake Paul does win, they say, no, he was expected to win. He was going to win that. We told you he'd win. Yeah. So they, rather than giving Jake Paul the necessary credit that, he's not bad, they're going to say Tommy Fury's trash, he's not serious about the sport, whatnot. Jake Paul takes it more serious, and that's the reason. So they're all picking Jake Paul. Jake Paul's never get credit from anyone, I don't think. Till this day, they always say that always fights have been rigged in the past. Yeah. They said all the MMA lot, they've been saying all those MMA knockouts were rigged. Yeah. When it's like, it's not rigged. It's just that these guys aren't boxers. You need to understand that he's not fighting the boxer. He trains like a boxer. You said we've given his props in the sense that you probably can't even call him a influencer anymore, really. He is a boxer. He's a pro. He's a pro. He lives the life, trains the life, has actual boxing people in his corner. BJ Flores, Julian Love, like these guys are all ex-boxers. They've all fought. Both of those guys have fought for world champion titles. I mean, so they have actual boxing pedigree. He's got that type of people around him. So it's safe to call him a boxer. But as I said, the attributes which I gave to Tommy, his reach and stuff, was apparent from the start, from round 1 and round 2 as well, Flowz, which I gave Tommy comfortably. Hey, I'll give him some props. The jab was firing, and the jab was he was from the start. He was looking like the better guy in there. You could see it. Yeah. And because he's got such long arms and long levers, and he actually jabs quite well when he wants to. It was catching Jake off all the time. He was catching every time Jake tried to come in, he was getting jabbed. So, Jake wasn't really as much as props you can give Jake, and the fact that yes, he looks very fundamentally sound. Out of all the YouTube lot, to me, he's the soundest that I've seen so far. Yeah, we could clearly see that Tommy was a step above him in there, straight from the off. And Jake unraveled to me quite quickly. At first it was very scrappy at first. Remember, it was a lot of clinching and whatnot. But whereas Tommy was setting up his work with the jab and using movement and footwork and whatnot, Jake was trying to go for the overhand right, just wildly sometimes. And it's like, bro, that might work against the Anderson Silvas and the Ben Askrens and Nate Robinsons, but that's not gonna cut the mustard here. No matter how low you want to rate Tommy Fury, the fact is he's a boxer. So yeah, man. Yeah, I'm pleased because we're breaking down Tommy Fury. Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, but it won't be that long. Don't worry. Yeah, but even stepping away from that, I do want to give Jake Paul credit because I've said it to you. I've said it in our WhatsApp groups that absolutely no reason for him to take the Tommy Fury fight. Yeah, like him and KSI are meant to be the eventual fight, that's whatnot. Roadmap, KSI. That's the money fight to them for the influence of boxing thing. And he's he's been drawing out these MMA fighters and sleeping them.
Yeah.
So he can continue doing that, drawing them out, smoking them, and then smoking KSI if he needs to, which he won't because
he will.
Like
KSI isn't good.
When Jake Paul can be a legit boxer, I'm not sure about KSI. From what I've seen anyway, I'm not sure. Like I can't call KSI a legit boxer.
He can't.
But yeah,
I was not sure he can't.
Yeah, and then looking at Tommy Fury, he's a legit boxer. Whether you lot try to discredit him or not, he's a legit boxer. So yeah, give him credit for doing that because he could have fought a legit soup can.
Yeah,
from the boxing world. We said it last episode anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, once the fight started, you could see someone who's had a background in boxing versus someone who's picked it up in the last 4 years, regardless of the amount of training.
Yeah,
like Tommy Fury's a fighting man.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's great. My name is saying he's great.
No matter how, it doesn't have to be good. I wouldn't call Tommy Fury good. He's now in the top 15. He's now in the top 15, but you won't call him someone that is top 15 level. Let's be real. Yeah. But the fact is, he has that boxing background, and as you said, as much as you train, it's very hard to overcome that when that's what you've been doing. You've been in camps with your big bro, your big bro and your cousin. You've been around them, you've sparred. The sparring people that they spar. You've been around the life from a young age, so it's different. You can't. There's no gap to overcome with that one. I don't think.
Yeah, for sure. But it was competitive. I wouldn't say it was competitive in portions. Jake Paul is the naturally bigger guy when you're looking at them.
Yeah,
but it's just Tommy Fury has these these Furies have these freakishly long arms.
Freakishly long arms. It's crazy. He's got. I think his range is like 80 centimeters or something like that. Which
they lied on the thing.
They said they lied about Jake's.
They said Jake's was longer, which is a lie because we all have eyes.
Yeah.
Tommy definitely.
No, his reach is like heavyweight proportions. Like it's really it's crazy. Like it's bigger than some heavyweights. Like his reach is insane reach. You're right. It was competitive. I wouldn't say it was a proper piecing up. Like to me, it should have been a UD for me, but it wasn't like Jake Paul was out of it, if you know what I mean. There were times when Tommy was having success and Jake Paul looked like he was unraveling, but there were also times where Jake was able to land that big overhand right, or he caught Tommy with that amazing hook. I can't remember which round it was, but he did catch him with a really, really good hook, probably the best punch of the fight. Tommy took it well. And as we saw, he dropped Tommy as well in the final round. So Jake was definitely in it, but there was just, to me, he gave away too many rounds in the sense that he wasn't able to land consistently, whereas Tommy, I feel like, was, and Tommy was able to use movement to sort of get out of the way, etc. And land his big shots as well. The black mark I had for Tommy was just that, which is something I suspected coming into this fight, because I looked at his resume and I saw that he struggled to knock out some of these soup cans that he's fought. So that automatically told me that this guy hasn't really got much power. And I think this fight kind of said it, that you really saw it. It was quite apparent in this fight, because he was able to land some big combinations on Jake, and Jake never looked staggered to me. Never looked like his legs never stiffened. So I think Tommy's a bit pillow-fisted, unfortunately, which is a bit peak in the division that he's in. But I guess the Furies have never been known for their power. Huey Fury wasn't a big puncher. Tyson for years wasn't considered the big puncher. It's just maybe not for them, the power thing. It's just, you either have it or you don't, right?
It's clear. That's clear to see. But I'm glad that Tommy's done this for boxing. I'm just disappointed in the boxing heads, the so-called boxing heads. Yeah, who were saying he's going to lose. It's crazy to me.
I was so apparent. Like, people were saying, "Really, Tommy?" Yeah, like it makes sense from a boxing standpoint. He's gonna. I never once thought I kept saying I want Jake to win because I like chaos, and I thought it'd be hilarious if he won because the call would be hilarious. But if I'm picking the winner, I said Tommy Fury by points. I don't see him knocking him out. It's gonna be a points thing, and I was surprised to hear so many people who apparently follow the sport and whatnot say that they felt they were strongly in the camp of Jake, saying he was going to do it. So I want to know what they were thinking and what they saw in Tommy, or what they didn't see in Tommy, to make them think
they were
that.
trying it. They were trying to be slick.
Hipster.
Yeah, they were trying to be slick. They wanted to cover themselves and say, "Yeah, I told you so." But yeah, we had to quickly rob the bookies. I saw their odds. I was like, "You lot are bugging." They had Jake as favourite.
Crazy.
And with the script of these fights, I like it was always going to be a split decision in my head. So I had to quickly grab that, and I thought Tom would get him on points, so I had to grab that as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, to me, I'm there thinking it should be UD, but I obviously after that knockdown, especially, I thought that that knockdown confirmed it for me. Yep, okay, yep, they're definitely going to SD or draw it. If they can draw it, they'll try and find a way to draw it. Because obviously there's a rematch clause in there and the money training, etc. We know how boxing works; it's corrupt, etc. We know this with our sport, but I'm just watching the fight now, and other things were annoying me. Obviously, the ref trying to be the main man was pissing me off so much. Flowz, oh my gosh, I hate refs like that. It's the worst. He deducted the point from Tommy. He deducted a point for I can't remember, was it excessive holding for both of them?
Both of them. Yeah,
both of them excessive, and it wasn't even excessive holding.
Yeah, and at the point where there was excessive holding, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. Exactly. It was actually the start of the fight where the holding was very excessive. But at that point, it was just fatigue and whatnot. But the referees, I don't know where they found that ref, but he was terrible. We both had American commentary up, and it's fair to say the American commentary was a joke as well. They were there talking as if it was a super close fight, and everything Jake Paul did, they were gassing up. Anything Tommy Fury did, they ignored.
Apart from Sean Porter, he was highlighted.
It was one specific. We don't have to mention his name. But it was one specific guy in general who we both don't like. We both said we don't like this guy. He's annoying, but he's at every flipping BBC show. So, but yeah, it was one mate guy in particular that was annoying me. But yeah, I don't know what the British commentary was like. I'm not going to bother to try and find out. I can't lie. I'm going to be watching this fight. I don't care till we watch this fight. They both said they were happy to do a rematch. I won't be watching a rematch either. I'll be so real. I've got no interest in the rematch. They probably would, I guess, for the money, they could do it. But Jake and Tommy can go in many different avenues now. Obviously, Jake can carry on doing this MMA thing, but also, as you said, the KSI is there. Tommy as well can actually fight KSI or Logan. All these guys are around. I don't know if he wants to carry on actually being a serious boxer then and go the route, as in, the British title, Commonwealth, European, that kind of stuff. I have no idea. He's not there yet. He still needs a lot of fights. As you can clearly see, he's not ready yet. But he did what he had to do to beat Jake Paul, and he was super emotional afterwards. So it's so funny to me because he's still getting cornered so heavily. I pre the TL, they're wrecking him. Because I think it's because of the fact that, one, because he got dropped, and two, he wasn't able to stop him. And it ended as SD. So people are saying, how can you be crying and stuff when you got your shit rocked? We saw the color of your shoes, first of all. You said you would knock this guy out in the fourth, you didn't, and it went to an SD. So that's why he's getting rinsed. But I guess I think people just don't like him. So
they're forcing it because everyone was saying he's going to lose. So don't try it now. Don't try it. If you're saying he's going to lose and he won, then that's on you. I guess the crying thing is emotional. He's had his baby. There's been a lot of talks about
pressure on him.
Yeah, not him. He's not been able to see his kids in like the last whatever. There's a lot of pressure on him. Your family tell you ditch the name if you lose. Yeah, a lot of you would fold under that one.
that is so deep. That is so deep. Also, he could have been crying because he might have thought that they're gonna draw this, or they could rob me here. After because the first card went to Jake, second card went to him. Yeah, imagine that. Like when you hear that straight away, you're thinking, "Flip it, oh."
They tried it.
If they shake me here, I'm finished. So tears of relief.
It's just a weight off his shoulder. So I'll never call. I can't. I will record the reaction of a fight. I ain't gonna lie. After a boxing fight, I will. But I can understand certain reactions after the whole camp, after getting drops, going through hell. Like you're gonna see wild reactions. Because I call Ryan Garcia every time he reacts after his fights. So I ain't gonna pretend I won't call you. But I understand emotional responses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you've been punched in the head a few times.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Mm. Yeah, overall, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a terrible fight, but it wasn't obviously super exciting or whatever. There was some competitive rounds, but the whole thing went as I thought it would go, as expected. Within two guys that are rookies, to be honest. They're not seasoned yet. They're rookies. They're both rookies. So they're going to look like rookies. You know, they're not going to look $1 million, not look amazing. They're both rookies, man. It was a lot better than the KSI Logan Paul 2 fight, which is one I actually did tune in. I watched that. I was livid. I watched it because it was a terrible, terrible fight. A lot better than that. Like, they're a much higher level. Obviously, KSI's they're calling out, both of them. They're both slumping. They're both slumping him in my eyes, from what I've seen from KSI. They're both cooking him. So, yeah, I don't know if you were. It's money for him, and it's all money at the end of the day, right? So yeah. But shout. Go on.
On that as well. Once again, shout out Jake Paul, because he could be doing the YouTube thing. He could be killing all these YouTubers.
Yeah.
But he's actually living the lifestyle. He cares about the sport. You can see that clearly with what he's doing for women's boxing and Amanda Serrano, and he's legit focused on boxing. And he took on a challenge. He took on a huge risk.
I always say to my mates as well, like, Jake is actually, like, love him or hate him, he actually does care about the sport because of that.
Yeah.
And he always makes sure that there's fighters on his own, boxers on his undercard, and he makes sure they get paid. He actually fights their purses, make sure they get a good purse. So to me, he's putting money into boxing, and that's why I respect him for it. He actually cares about it. It's
look how many YouTube.
So go on.
Look how many chances he's given Tommy Fury. Remember, he gave him his biggest.
I said, look how many chances he's fed Tommy. He's tried to feed Tommy. Yeah. This Tommy probably never ever beat this payday ever.
Yeah, he's had these guys on his undercard. He's had Tommy on his undercard, gave him his biggest payday.
Yeah,
Tommy's pulled out of the fight twice.
Yeah,
he's given him his biggest payday today. He's looking out for these guys. Tommy would never see this bread. Will never see this bread.
Feeding them, man, for real. Yeah, it's very true, and that's why I respect him, because you see a lot of these YouTube influencer folks that you can see clearly don't give a damn about the life or the sport, but just looking to make a quick buck because it's popular right now. They can get a quick change from it and then bounce or whatever. But he actually he plans on sticking around, for what I can see, and he actually does care for it. So that's why I actually do respect Jake Paul, even though I understand how it can be polarizing and whatnot. I mean, he's funny, man. I like a good troll. He trolled the hell out of Tommy throughout this entire thing. He's been trolling Tommy for about 2 years. He's
trolling boxing. He's trolling all of them.
And the way he trolled the MMA, like, I love it. So yeah, that's why I wanted him to win. People say I like chaos too much. I like chaos. I like it, man. It's hilarious. That's why I wanted him to win so much. But I knew it just wasn't gonna happen. I knew that Tommy would be just a step too far. And that's boxing, man. That's what it is, man. It's what it is.
I would have loved to see the Jake Paul trade, because I know he was drawing out Carl Frock. So if he beat Tommy Fury,
Carl got rattled. Pause. Carl got flipping rattled. Absolutely rattled from him.
Oh, I was crying.
It doesn't take much to rile up Carl Froch, but I didn't think Jake could do it like that, man. Like, he was rattled.
He's been getting all of these, man. But I think he can just go back to doing what he does. He's found his lane, call out a Nate Diaz, bang him up in boxing.
A McGregor, something like that.
Yeah. Keep smoking these MMA guys, like leave the boxers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tommy Flowz, do you think he should actually be serious and go to the British, European Commonwealth and actually try to make a name for himself in boxing? Or do you think he should stick to the KSIs and what? Because he can do that as well. He can stick to that lot.
I think he should mix and match it, Take a soup can here, smoke a YouTuber there, like the back and forth. And if he wants to take it serious, I imagine, like the Furies are serious guys. They're not with the joke thing. So I imagine he'll be back training. He'll look to do some legit boxing matches, but obviously you're seeing videos of influencers talking nonsense, so you might as well slap them up as well.
Yeah, they are. They're talking hella smack.
And get the bag, because you will smack them up.
Yeah.
So he can do what he wants.
It's a nice position for him to be in, isn't it? It's actually a good position for him to be in, because
very nice.
He's always gonna have a good profile if he does slap these guys up. Good paydays as well, because they bring money to the sport. But it depends. Yeah, like I said, it depends on what you're in for, really. If you do have water aspirations, obviously you're gonna have to step up eventually. So We'll see. That'd be funny though. Tommy Fury versus Okolie or something. Yeah. Can you imagine? That'd be hilarious.
Set up.
Vidal, I said Vidal Riley. He's got a YouTube persona. He's got he's got a following on YouTube. I swear. So he can. They're both what? 6-7-0. Hey.
To be fair, the cruiserweight division is the nicest division to be in.
There isn't really. There's not many eyes on it, and there isn't really. You want killers like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once Okolie and Riakporhe move out, then he can navigate his way through that division and stay in that top 15. Once again, he's still a rookie. He's still young. He's only 23, so he can get better. We don't know what his ceiling is.
Yeah.
So let's not write him off yet, like these other guys were. But
sure.
Even Jake Paul can improve. So they're both rookies, man. Let's not expect too much from them.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the Okolie Riakporhe Flowz because we actually didn't talk about the little tussle at the Creed premiere. Hey man, we know that's the beef that's been brewing for time in it. So remember I said to you, like, you know what? I knew they were thinking because they were on Sky together and they were both talking on Sky about it. And the way they were doing nicey, I said, this is so fake because I know you two don't like each other. You hate each other. Yeah. This has been a beef that's been brewing for a long ass time. Way before this pod. For a long ass time they've had beef. Yeah. So when they were doing the diplomatic, well, I was like, okay, you're just here for the cameras. And it's funny, like a week later, this ensues where they're actually full on almost scrap in a cinema. Do you know how funny that is?
We'd be like roadmen. So
road. Especially
obviously,
when you found the Riakporhe clip and you're talking about, I'm a prize fighter, I do it in the ring.
Yeah, I think it might have been IFL Boxing Social where it's like, Okolie's here, Crispin Smith's here. Is there going to be a Royal Rumble? And he said, nah. I'm a professional. I'm a prize fighter. I fight for money. A few moments later, a few moments later, he was the one setting the pace. He was trying to rumble. Okolie was still like Camden, but he was there trying to.
Obviously, they both got. I think they both got fights lined up in it, so they both take care of their business. That's probably going to happen back in this year. Hey, I'm here. I've been here for it, so I've been. And as we said, it probably won't be the nicest fight to watch, but the build up. If we get that energy, the thing is, for the cameras, they're both going to do nice. And look, they will. They're both because they're both media trained. They both do nice for the camera. But I just know that deep down inside, these two are. They would have a Royal Rumble on the street, as we always saw. So but that will come at some point this year. I do also want to talk about Flowz. I guess there was a big announcement that got made this week. And my first reaction to the announcement was, yeah, right. I'll see it when I believe it. But we've got an official announcement and date for the Tank Ryan Garcia fight. It's in April. I can't remember I think it's the 16th or something like that. I think, someday in April at a catch weight of 136 pounds. We've discussed this in how ridiculous we feel like this is, but it is what it is. I'm still skeptical. I still feel like at some point something will happen, they'll be cancelled or someone pulls out injury or whatnot. Until I actually see these men in the ring together and the bell's gone and they both throw a punch, I ain't saying nothing really because these two camps, when I say camps, I mean PBC and I mean Golden Boy, are both notorious for ducking and just being very hard to make fights with. That's not in-house. So, we'll see how it happens. But,
I can't say. Well, I saw Michael Benson post it and I saw Tank post and Ryan Garcia post.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything from Golden Boy or PBC. And that tells me all I need to know. Until I see something that's official, from the networks, from the promoters, like a poster that's from them saying tickets on sale or something. Then I'm not excited.
I think I saw the Zone post it. The Zone. I think the Zone on their IG. I think they said something about it. But
the Zone just post news.
I was gonna say
they always post news.
Yeah.
As well. So they jump on the bandwagon and post the news. Of course, the Zone do that better. But until I see it from the actual Golden Boy, and he's not with PBC anymore, but the networks where they say, here's tickets or whatever, because we've seen Ryan Garcia do this bet.
Yep.
We've even seen the poster, and the fight wasn't there.
Yep.
So,
obviously, if it does happen, Flowz, obviously we'll deal with the specifics and the details of it. Obviously, when the time comes to preview it. But just for now, do you have a winner?
Tank.
Yeah. Okay. KO.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
Ryan Garcia will be outboxing him.
I think this will be Tank's hardest fight today.
Yeah.
And out of all the people in that 1-3 fight or whatever, I feel like Ryan Garcia. There's two people who I feel like will give Tank hell, and I think Ryan Garcia is one of them. Stylistically, he's actually all wrong for Tank, but I feel like Tank will get to him. The other person, Shakur, I think Shakur beats him. But I think this 100% is going to be Tank's hardest fight yet, because Ryan Garcia is no joke. People like to chat smack about him, but he's a serious boxer. He's good.
Oh, yeah.
So he's actually very, very good. So but I think Tank will get to him eventually, and just we've seen the color of Ryan's shoes. Unfortunately, I think Luke Campbell dropped him.
Luke Campbell?
Huh?
By Luke Campbell? That's why I was not going with Tank. I can't lie.
Yeah, I said that. What? I said, Campbell, boy, Tank when he lands, boy. But at the same time, Garcia hits bloody hard as well. So he could actually get the Tank first. But hey, we'll discuss it if it actually happens. We'll see in it. Only other thing to talk about really, Flowz. There isn't really a fight. There's one fight just worth mentioning next week. Listeners, you might want to tune into Brandon Figueroa versus Mark Magsayo. Brandon Figueroa, listeners, you might remember, he was the guy who had that amazing fight with Stephen Fulton, that super close fight, which he unfortunately lost. And Magsayo was the guy who dethroned Gary Russell Jr. Magsayo then went on to lose his first title defense against Ray Vargas. But him and Figueroa are fighting for that interim featherweight or WBC world featherweight title, which probably is, I guess, like an eliminator, isn't it, Flowz? The winner will probably go on to fight the WBC champion once that's completed. So that's the only fight of note for next week. But apart from that, nothing really happening next week, bro. It's a bit of a quiet one, bit of a quiet week.
There is some news as well, actually, that we haven't discussed.
Yeah, go on.
Conor Benn winning his
he's been cleared
appeal with the WBC.
Yeah.
So, the WBC have cleared him.
Do you want to talk about what? Let's talk about mention what the explanation was as to why they cleared him.
In what we call the 147-page dossier that he said, I believe you.
Yeah, it's true. It was 147
page. His reasoning, it sounds like, is because he's high eggs intake. He was having 5 eggs a day or something. So that is the reason why this was it clofetamine was found in his system, because of his egg intake, which is interesting. So he's been cleared by the WBC. He's been reinstated into their rankings, and he's allowed to compete for the WBC rankings or whatever. Which is all very interesting, and once again all very confusing, because I don't know.
So they've cleared him, but the other is he okay with the other organizations?
So I think he was always okay with the other organizations, because it was a VADA test. And VADA is voluntary but required by the WBC. So he's passed every other test. But then the issue was the British Board of Control jumped on the VADA thing and said, okay, you're banned as well, or we're investigating. And then Conor Benn said he's dropping his British Board of Control license. Remember that he's dropping that completely because of whatever reasons. So that's still confusing, because the British Board of Control are investigating, but he's left it. I remember we discussed they shouldn't be investigating because you don't recognize VADA. He's passed UKADA. So why are you investigating VADA? But that was like a different discussion. Like, should all governing bodies recognize VADA? Of course they should. It's the best one. But my confusion is with this investigation, it seems like VADA aren't involved. It's done by WBC.
Yeah.
And we know what the WBC are like.
Yeah.
they're funny organizations. So
yeah,
it's boxing's a mess still.
In a nutshell, boxing's a mess and money talks in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Do that information what you will, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell for me. But yeah, you'll see Ben fighting on your screens again, I'm sure, at some point this year, now that he's been cleared.
Just not in the UK.
Until he gets his license back. That's just not in the UK. I just hope that they don't look to pursue that Eubank fight again. Hey, it might be a blessing for him if he can't fight in the UK. He's been calling out hello American names, hello American welterweights. Go chase him. Spicy. Go fight in America then. Go chase the Bootses. Go chase the Furmans. Go, as you've been calling out.
You see, he's back and forth with Spence. Yep. Beef and Tank.
He hasn't got no problems with Spence or Tank, to be fair. But yeah. Yeah, if he wants to fight in America now, go do that and go chase the welterweights you've been chasing instead of chasing Chris Eubank. But yeah, welcome back on the Ben. Let's call it there, Flowz. Nice, not a heavy week of boxing, lighthearted and whatnot. But yeah, it's been episode 131 of SZN Podcast. Once again, I'll be on boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And keep running up them streams, liking and supporting us. Peace.
I'm taking a strap. I'm strapped up.
What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.